So you're all here to learn how to use Faculty 360 to create a CV. And there's actually several different ways to create CVs in Faculty 360. I'm going to focus today on making a CV that's NSF style. So it's just a short two-page CV, which I understand is the requirement for people to apply to some internal grants very soon through the office. I was told the due date is January 30th, and it's a two-page limit. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, and I'll give you some examples as we go. So, and then at the end, I'm going to try and go pretty quickly, like maybe at most 25 or 30 minutes of instruction to leave time for questions, or if people have very specific questions related to their situation. If uh, if you have a question as we go, if it's really easy, go ahead and ask me. I'll try and monitor the chat. Maybe Vicky can monitor the chat for me if I miss something. But if it's more complex, let's just leave it to the end, and hopefully we'll have plenty of time at the end to discuss those longer questions. And then also, I'll try and remember to stop recording when we get to the Q&A part. We'll just record the substantive part of the presentation. So let me show you a couple of examples of the kinds of CVs that I'm going to show you how to make today. So I'm going to share two examples on my screen just to show you what yours should end up looking like. So I'll start with mine. And these are hypothetical, really. I don't have any particular goal in making this CV. I just did it to go through the exercise. So you should be able to see a Word document open and a CV in my name. And this is all formatted by Faculty 360. So it'll basically pick a font for you and organize it into sections for you. And then I'll show you at the end of the process, you can edit it to make it look nicer. If something doesn't quite fit, you can adjust that too. But it made a draft for me, and then I edited it, and it fits exactly on two pages. So I'm just scrolling quickly, and I'll show you the sections. It starts with a section at the top called professional preparation, which it'll try and put in your degrees to show your credibility. And then it has a section called appointments. And mine has all my professor related positions. I'm not a professor right now, I'm an administrator. But, but Faculty 360 doesn't know that, so it didn't put that in. And then I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to pick 5 publications or work products that are most closely related to your proposal. And you're going to be picking those from your achievements already stored in Faculty 360. And then you're going to pick 5 additional publications that are what you consider to be significant to show your expertise in your area, perhaps, or in your methodology. And mine are not organized for any particular reason. I just kind of randomly picked just to produce a CV. And then you're going to pick up to 5 or so synergistic activities. And that's a special definition from NSF about what counts as a synergistic activity. And I'm going to show you the definition of that as we go. So you'll see more clearly what that means. But there's a lot of flexibility in here. So that's just a quick overview of what one will look like. And now I'm going to switch over and show you Dr. Tawari's that he created because his looks a little different, but it still fits the requirements. So you should be able to see his on your screen. And again, it puts the name. It already knows your office phone number. It should put that in. It should already know your email address. It'll put that in. And then uh, you're going to give it a title or have no title. He just called it a test. But it has the same sections as mine. Professional preparation has his degrees, appointments. So again, he doesn't, this is more his research related appointments. He doesn't have his administrator appointment in here. And then it has the five works that he considered most closely related to his proposed project. But honestly, he told me he just kind of randomly picked them for this demo. But you will pick ones that are relevant. And then there's five other significant publications that he picked. And then his synergistic activities. His are different than mine. I don't know if you noticed mine. Mine were publications related to learning and teaching. And he picked a lot of editorial work that he has done in different journals and professional publications as his synergistic activities. So again, when we get to the definition, you'll get a better idea of what goes there. Okay, so Faculty 360 is in our Interfolio system. So you're gonna you be using Interfolio to create the CV if you go with this method. Now, I'm going to show you how to log in. I'm pretty sure you all already know, but I'm just going to go through it so that it's on the recording. So I've already opened a page in my browser, and this is one of the ways you can log into Interfolio. This is the way I do it. And there is a link here in the picture. Oops, get that. Sorry, go back. There's a link here at the top, which I'm trying to get. Oh, there it is. And go there, and then you can sign in with a partner institution. Our institution, Cal State Fullerton, so I just type the first few letters, Fuller, and then from the drop down, I choose Cal State Fullerton, click on sign in, and then I'm going to log in with my campus sign in credentials. It should look pretty similar to what you would see. It usually opens up on the homepage where it shows cases, your cases, or if you're under review, or it'll show cases of people that you're reviewing. So, but that's not what we're going to use. On the left, you can see there's Faculty 360, and that's a different module than the review module in Interfolio. So we're going to be using Faculty 360 to do our tasks. And you'll see here there's several different sections. I have a little bit extra than you'll have since I'm an administrator, but you'll have a profile and you'll have activities. And in order for this to really work, you're already going to have set up your activities in here. So when I click on activities, this is just their word for all the things that we do as professors that we get credit for. So it has records of our teaching, it has records of mentorship and supervision, our research scholarship and creative activities, grants and service. And it's and a lot of this is already pre-populated for you. So you'll see that your courses you've taught at CSUF will already be in here, and you wouldn't have to do anything. But your research and creative activities, those you'll have to do a little bit of work to set up in advance. So there's a system in Interfolio that will automatically kind of search the web and different databases to find your, say you do a lot of publications. If journal publications are the way you create work products, then it'll look for those on different places, and then it'll present to you options to choose whether to accept them. You'll go through and it'll show you a sample when you open this section up, and then you'll have to accept that's mine or that's not mine. You may have seen something similar on other databases. For creative activities, if you have to, you may have to enter more of those on your own. And these are my research publications, but there's an add button down here at the bottom. And in the worst case scenario, you'll be adding your different activities through this interface here. And you can choose a lot of different types that we've added. to the system. Here's an artistic and professional production, and so on, journal article. I've already added all of mine, so I'm just going to assume that you will have done all that stuff as well. And then once it's in here, it's in here, and it'll be in here until you delete it or whatever. So it's basically a one-time process that you have to go through, and it'll show everything that's recorded for you in a nice big table like this with a lot of information. So let's say that you've done all that. There'll be advantages other than just creating CVs. We're trying to set this system up so that it can help you in a lot of processes. And then we're going to go ahead and once you've got all information, we're going to create the Vita. So if you look on the left here, there's a section called Vitas and Biosketches. And there's several different subsections, but we're going to be using the legacy Vitas. And this is just separate because Interfolio, these are the older Vita templates that Interfolio added to the system, and then they have a newer system that allows you to create like your own templates, and the universities created a few templates too. So we're using one of the older ones in here. So I'm going to pop into Legacy Vitas. And when you first go into the Vitas section, it shows you a list of Vitas that you've already created. You may not have anything here. I've got, ones that I'm basically just testing to get the system going based on my information. And then we're going to need to add a new Vita. So I'm going to click on Add, and we'll give it a name. So the name you can choose, and this will appear here in the list to help you remember what the Vita is about. So I'm just going to call mine CV for internal grants, January 2026. And then the template you want to use for this is the NSF 2017 template. That's what Dr. Tiwari is asking everyone to use. And if you choose that correctly, then it'll have all the sections I showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Edit. I'm not adding a description. If you put a description, it'll appear on your table here, where behind this pop-up window, but it's not required. And now I see this list of sections of the CV. So these are similar to what I already showed you in the samples. Professional preparation, the appointments, 5 products related to your proposed project, 5 significant pubs, and it's really up to 5. You don't have to fill all 5. And then synergistic activities. So let me quickly show you how it works. I'm going to open up the first section, professional preparation. And by clicking on this double-headed arrow, and then it should basically just list your degrees that are already recorded by the university. This data has been transferred over from human resources over into the Faculty 360 system. So it already has my 3 degrees. So I'm going to choose all of those, close that. So now it's showing that I've selected 3 items. Now I'm going to add my appointments, go here, and I'm just going to put up every professor position I've had. There you can see I've never been a professor here at Fullerton. I was a professor for 23 years at Dominguez Hills. So that's most of my career there. So I'm going to close that up. And it shows that I've selected 4. Now we're going to get to the products closely related to your project. So this is the part where it's important that you've entered your data into your activities over here on the left, or that you've checked to make sure your key activities are there. And you can add grants, and you can add items of research, scholarship, and creative activities. So I don't have any grants here, so I'm going to close that section up for me. If you have grants and you think they're closely related to your proposal, go ahead and add them. I'm going to open up the RISCA, and in my case, it lists all of my research activities, which are all journal articles. So just for our demo, I'm not going to bother worrying too much about what I choose. I'm just going to choose 5 of these. Close that. And then we're going to add five other significant publications. So these may show off some of your other skills or knowledge that you think could be relevant, but not as directly relevant to your proposal. So again, you can do grants and you can do research and scholarship and creative activities. So I'm going to go back to the RISCA and choose just five arbitrarily selected items. Of course, you want to be picky about what you choose. Close that up. So now it shows in section C1 and section C2 that I've got five items selected. So I'm ready to go in those sections. And then we get to the synergistic activities. So when you open this, it doesn't pull from your profile or your activities in Faculty 360. Instead, it's just a blank text box. And so you can put in anything you want here, but you want to put in things that match the National Science Foundation definition of synergistic activities. So I'm going to save my changes, and then I'm going to show you that definition so we can take a look at that. It's pretty broad, so let me switch over to my other screen. So this is all pulled from the NSF website. And so what do you include? So here's a very kind of generic definition. Examples demonstrating the broader impact of your professional and scholarly activities, focusing on the creation, integration, and transfer of knowledge. So that's really broad. You could probably interpret that in a lot of different ways. But what I like is this other section, synergistic activities, which has actual examples. So if you're not sure what you want to put based on the broad definition, go ahead and borrow some of the examples in here. So scrolling down here, I'm going to highlight this. Examples may include innovations in teaching and training, contributions to the science of learning, which is how I did it. I picked five publications I have related to the science of teaching, development and or refinement of research tools. Let me get this out of the way. I guess I can't do that. Computation methodologies and algorithms for problem solving, development of databases to support research and education, broadening the participation of groups represented in STEM, participation in international research collaborations, participation in national and or international standards development efforts, and service to the scientific and engineering community outside of the individual's immediate organizations. So yeah, I'm hoping all of you have something that you could share in there. And you all may have different things. So that's okay according to the definition. So let me close that back up and go back to my CV. Okay. So I saved my CV. And so what it did was it added it to my list on my screen here, CV for internal grants, January 2026. And what I want to do is I want to edit that. So there's a little pencil tool that allows you to edit. I'm going to check it one more time before I publish it or print it. So it's got my name. I didn't put a description, which is fine. Has three items here, four items here, five items, and then I would add synergistic activities, which I will not do all that right now. And I'm going to save and preview, and then you'll get a chance to see what it actually looks like. So here it is. So it uses my label to add as a title, but you can change that using the pencil tool. It organized it into nice, neat sections with this data that I selected. Put the articles in here and put my articles in chronological order, which makes sense, although um, you may want to, I don't remember if it's required to be in chronological, reverse chronological, but I'll check and I'll try and let everyone know. And then put my other significant publications in, and then if I had added my full text on synergistic activities, they would appear here. So it looks pretty good to me. And then what you can do is you can export and edit. So I'm going to export this to a Word document. So I know sometimes when I do the export, you don't see the things that pop up. So I'm going to do it. If you don't see it, that's fine. I'm going to do a few steps and then I'll come back and show you what it created. So you should see the Word document open now, and it came out okay. It has the title that I gave it at the top, my name, my email address. The system doesn't seem to have added my office phone, but I don't think it has mine. But if you wanted to add it, you could here just by editing this. If you wanted to put your specific contact information, has my professional preparation, the appointments that I selected, the 5 articles I selected, 5 other publications as well, and then it would have my full text of my synergistic activities. So and mine fits on 2 pages. You'll want to check after adding your synergistic activities whether it fits on 2 pages. If not, you may need to play around with it a little bit, like the font or the margins or something like that to get it to 2 pages for your requirement. And then it's ready to go. So then you can submit it through your save it, submit it through your system. If you don't like the font, you can change the font. Or you can even edit the individual items. I noticed sometimes on the articles, there's little things that I don't like, but these ones look pretty good. And I just do little minor edits. So if you don't give it a title, or if you don't edit the title, sometimes it just puts something really silly right here. It's not very useful. So just make sure you do a little quick eyeball check that your title came out right and it makes sense. And then if it didn't, go ahead and change it.